I'm also a senator on the Concordia University Senate. And my purpose today is to briefly discuss the background of the science merger and why the future of the university must be decided now and who will decide it. I'll try to illustrate as much as possible as questions raised. When Concordia was formed from the merger of Sir George and Loyola in 1974, the principal blueprint for the new merger was entitled the merger document. And the merger document set up 5 initial faculties in Concordia. They were a Loyola Faculty of Arts and Science, Sir George Williams Faculty of Arts, which included fine arts, a Sir George Williams Faculty of Science, a university-wide Faculty of Engineering, and a university-wide Faculty of Commerce. In 1975, a university-wide Faculty of Fine Arts was set up. With regards to science, the merger document said that representatives of the Sir George Faculty of Science and the Loyola Faculty of Arts and Science would meet and recommend to the University Senate on the feasibility of the establishment of a single Faculty of Science. For one reason or another, they just simply never submitted a report. And so the provincial government steps in, and last year, actually it was 1975, government set up 2 commissions to recommend on policy for all Quebec universities with regards to science. The first, entitled Opération Sciences Appliquées, dealt only with geology as far as we're concerned, and recommended the 2 geology departments of Loyola and Sir George be merged. The second study, entitled Opération Sciences Fondamentales, OSF for short, dealt with biology, chemistry, math, and physics. In each case, it recommended that Loyola and Sir George departments be merged. The OSF report said nothing about faculty structure, only that the departments should be merged. Concordia also saw the separate departments as unnecessary and expensive duplication. The administration is also concerned that with predictions for a lowering in student enrollment in the 1980s and growing inter-university competition for students, which we've already seen the results of today, McGill is the main competitor. Concordia cannot afford to postpone a change in the structural status quo of science. Accordingly, Director John O'Brien had Academic Vice Rector Jack Borden write a report last spring, so that's the spring of '76, which had the effect of generating interest and discussion, a wide range of discussion, on the question of the future of science. And O'Brien responded with his own comments, which were distributed to most of the university community, and it was also printed in FYI. And O'Brien's report was followed by argumentative pieces by Sir George Williams, Dean of Arts Ian Campbell, Sir George Williams, Dean of Science Roger Verschingle, and Loyola Arts and Science Dean Russell Breen. The various options for the future of science are being discussed at the faculty councils for each faculty. These councils are composed of students, faculty, and administrators, but they have little power except to recommend to Senate on this issue. So the main decision-making body of the university is the Senate. To all intents and purposes, decision will be made by Senate, and which is billed as the supreme academic body. It's composed of approximately 58 people. It's more or less 1/3 students, 1/3 faculty, and 1/3 administrators. And it is extremely important, as we have 19 student members on Senate, that we get some feedback on what other students feel about the science merger. And it is given the authority to decide on academic matters by the Board of Governors, which is the final governing body of the university. The Board of Governors, or BOG, is about 50% businessmen, people like lawyers, corporation heads, etc. And they recognize that they have little academic expertise. They're more or less they decide on most financial matters. However, the future of science is not entirely an academic question, and I think it's possible for the board to back the administration if the administration doesn't like the way the decision went. If Senate were to recommend that we build 10 new buildings for each of the new colleges or something like this, obviously the board would overrule them. This would be unfortunate, as the board generally doesn't have too much of a mind of its own, and it tends to back the administration just because they are the administration. To return to the Borden and O'Brien reports, the Borden report sets out 2 main options, and it's around these options that discussion more or less centered within the first few months, which is over last summer and the early part of this academic year. The first option was that the science part of Loyola Faculty of Arts and Science join with Sir George Williams Science Faculty to form a University Faculty of Science. And this represents a tried and true approach. It's been used at several other universities, and is certainly the less innovative of the 2 choices. The second option was that a faculty of what O'Brien later termed of Loyola Arts and University Science be set up. If either option were to be taken up, Board nevertheless recommended that research in graduate programs in chemistry and biology and so on be concentrated in the hall building. And like this caused a little bit of a furor in that this would leave less space for the undergraduate programs. As for curriculum, Borden saw that the university science structure was offering more or less standard curriculum, while in an arts and science format there would be a greater possibility for interdisciplinary work. As for Rector John O'Brien, he too did not really commit himself. He stated that either an arts or a science structure would work, but that the science approach is the tried and true one, while he would only accept the arts and science if there's a strong, and I quote, a strong presumption that its implications have been understood and accepted, and the will exists to carry it through successfully. That means more or less that as long as there's not too much opposition. O'Brien concluded his report by stating, and I quote again, "To my mind, the choice depends very much on what the university community is prepared to make work." So on November 5th, 1976, after discussing all these reports that were, first it was the original Borden report, then Rector O'Brien had his comments on it, and then Deans Campbell, Verschingle, and Breen all had their comments to say and their general views of the situation. And so at Senate on November 5th of 76, the deans were asked to submit a more or less definitive report on the academic reorganization of the university. And this report was finally submitted to Senate on February 25th. All of the deans, except with the notable exception of Sir George Dean of Science Roger Verschingle, endorsed this report. Dean Verschingle has come out against the new proposal. They recommended the formation of a single university faculty of arts and science and the merger of the sister departments from the existing faculties. As far as the merger of the sister departments, this has been passed by Senate last week, and it will go into effect as of June 1st. This faculty would be divided into 4 divisions, each composed of a number of related departments and headed by a vice provost, with full-time responsibility for the division activities and certain faculty-wide staff responsibilities as part of the faculty administrative team. The divisions would play a central role in resource allocation, appointment and evaluation of faculty, and in the promotion and coordination of research. And the 4 proposed divisional groupings are along natural lines, and as they're illustrated on the board there would be social sciences, natural sciences, humanities, and applied disciplines. And up above you can see the vice provost's role in each one of those. He is the supreme, more or less, he's the boss of each one of the divisions there. He's the wheel that makes it run. And the vice provost's main role will be to ensure the appropriate support and the recognition is given to his division within the faculty, and that the operational activities and responsibilities within his division, namely teaching and research, are carried out at a respectable level. He will also coordinate and approve the curricular and contractual submissions from the various departments of his division in accordance with the policy set by the provost for the faculty. You can notice that there is a provost for arts and sciences underneath the vice rector, and that is it is more or less on the level, and it's more or less a super dean as compared to what we've had now. To the faculty, its divisions and departments would be the responsibility for courses and academic standards, graduate programs, research, and academic personnel. And it was recommended that responsibility for undergraduate programs be assigned to some number of university colleges. Each college would have its principal, a group of 10 to 20 fellows chosen largely from the departments, and from 200 to 800 full-time students, and in addition part-time students. All undergraduate students would register in a college. And again, there's been some lively debate on Senate concerning this, whether all university students, undergraduate students, would register in a college or not. Whether they could, there have been some proposals that they should more or less leave the option open. Each college would be founded upon some single unifying theme, philosophy, or of education, or educational function. And it would be the responsibility of the university college to provide the organization for undergraduate education by offering programs of study derived from and expressing their philosophy of education or designed to serve the function. All undergraduate programs would be the responsibility of the university colleges. Ordinarily, the colleges would not employ faculty and would offer very few courses of their own. The courses would be offered by the departments. And it is the dean's opinion that courses, their content and standards, are the proper concern of departments and the faculty, as are most matters of personnel. This leads us into one major stumbling block in that the programs are administered by the colleges whereas the courses are offered by the departments. Unless there is proper liaison between the colleges and the departments, then we could have major problems there. Initially, at least 5 university colleges would be established to house the existing programs of the university. They envisage eventually a grand total of between 8 and 11 colleges. As rapidly as possible, others would be brought into existence based on some clearly defined philosophy or function until the appropriate number has been reached. And each college would have a primary locale on one campus, either Sir George or Loyola. But some programs of some colleges would be available on more than one campus. They do anticipate the need for the establishment of a college or colleges on other than the existing 2 campuses if we were to acquire further space. In addition to their academic functions such as student recruitment, counseling, registration, and developing and offering programs, the university colleges would play a significant social role in the life of the student. One of the major points that the deans made is that they're more or less being out of touch with the students, and they were hoping that perhaps with the smaller groupings of between up to about 800 students, that they would have more intimate contact with the students. As relatively small units drawing together faculty and students with common educational goals and perspectives, they have a foundation for just such a role. The deans also expect that certain segments of the Quebec community will play a much more active role in the university, which means that they hope that people will give more money by becoming associated with a college by means of advisory boards associated with each college. The provost and the principals of the university colleges would report to a vice-rector academic with responsibility for arts and science. This is another factor for debate, which has yet to be settled by Senate, and the fact that they have now, under this setup, they would have 2 vice-rectors. As you can see, they would have a vice-rector for the commerce, engineering, and fine arts, and then another one for the arts and science. And the provost himself is responsible for providing academic leadership, for coordinating the activities of the 4 divisions, and for planning the development of the faculty. The senior legislative body for the Faculty of Arts and Science and for the university colleges should be the Arts and Science Council, more or less based on the where we have the Arts Faculty Council, the Science Faculty Council, and on Loyola campus we have the Arts and Science Faculty Council, and whose members would be drawn primarily from the divisions and university colleges. The actual number has not been really set out. Professors Jacobson and Cohen, among a large number of other professors in the Faculty of Arts, while commending the deans for their innovative approach, had qualms about what they felt was the unduly complex administrative hierarchy. Now, this can be easily explained just by taking a look at the chart behind me, in that all of a sudden we have branches going off in almost every direction. The idea of having more administrators, I guess, would be to more or less bring them closer to the students. They would have, each administrator would have fewer students to attend to, whether you agree with that or not. That's their idea. And Professors Jacobson and Cohen felt that the provost should be eliminated and that deans should be appointed for the new divisions, which would leave us with one dean more than we have now. Now we have 1 dean for Sir George Williams Faculty of Arts, 1 for Science, and at Loyola we have 1 for Arts and Science. And Jacobson and Cohen presume that we should have a dean for each of the faculty of the divisions of humanities, social sciences, natural and biological life sciences, and applied disciplines. Another point that they make is that deans require 2 vice-rectors. This is, again, what I said earlier. And the professors feel that, again, this is too complex and results in less contact and further alienation. What they suggest instead would be to have the 1 vice-rector, and if need be, he could have a larger support staff assistance, but there should be only 1 vice-rector. The most important point, however, is the timetabling of the entire affair. The deans wish to put the college system into effect in September '78, and Professors Jacobson and Cohen feel that we shouldn't be that hasty. That would mean that the merged departments are already going to effect as of June 1st, and that people would be registering in the colleges presumably they would be pre-registering in next March. So as you can see, this is something that has to be decided, rather quickly. And as a matter of fact, we've already set down in Senate that a decision would have to be reached by June on the timetabling. As a matter of fact, we'll be discussing it tomorrow. And unfortunately, we've had a lot of problem getting feedback from students, and I'd just like more or less to open the floor to people who would like to who either have questions or comments about the structures that I've outlined. Next year will be business as usual, as far as you won't be registering in a college for next year's students. Yeah, there'll be the same faculties. However, there will be a merger of the departments, and I believe the faculties will be merged by the following June. I believe that's the timetable. Any questions? Okay, Professor Charlton, I'm sure you have many things to say about this.
I'm just trying to sort out a very complicated problem that arrived at 1:30 if I can. I have a student from Loyola, political science student, who wanted to make it political science Loyola. She wanted to combine that with a major in Russian studies at Georgia. Transcript is straightforward. She can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Can I find out whether she's allowed to do it at this university? Can I? Well, it's very good. And the students are getting screwed. We have one university and they can't do the sorts of things that a combined university should allow them to do. We simply haven't got the freedom of exchange between Loyola and St. George that should be in place now.
Do you think that we would be able to achieve it under this setup?
Well, it's so damn stupid, and that's what the registrar thinks too, that yes, but it really is quite ridiculous that, in fact, it turns out that students of McGill can do more credits at Loyola and St. George than our own students can,
Mm-hmm.
which is dumb. It's part of the eternal fight between the deans of big arts and other side to keep their students in their head count, and then much to the disadvantages of the students.
Yeah, I see. So that you do feel that this would be a definite improvement on what we have now, as far as as far as students going, as far as courses, programs.
We can somehow reduce the size of the operation. I think everybody recognizes that the University College of Arts and Science is a huge thing. Quite honestly, Jack, this afternoon I spent an hour on the telephone trying to solve this gal's problem. Now, if I'd sent her out into the big world saying, go and see so-and-so, she could be doing that for Christmas. Okay? So the university in its current size is big enough and messy enough. Okay? And if we have one huge fused faculty, my God, it's going to be chaos. So there's got to be a mechanism for breaking it down.
And you suggest that the section of into colleges and then divisions would be appropriate, or?
To give deans credit, I think it's a very creative suggestion. Like most people, I don't think there is the space. In fact, I'm damn sure there isn't the space. Another problem sitting on the back is the Women's Union needs a room for next year, and everybody's saying there isn't any. And yet we're going to have room for 8 colleges in the future. Oh, God, it's crazy. I think it's one thing to criticize the proposal of colleges, and I'm very much in favor of real colleges. My worry is there'll be paper colleges.
And you mean they'll just be more or less enlarged programs, rather than just?
They've got to be multi-something or other.
Yeah.
My worry is they'll become paper programs. There'll be a place where you register. There'll be a place where somebody makes sure you have the graduation requirements, and that's it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I think the critics of the colleges have got to answer, well, given this huge structure we all say is wrong, how in fact does one break it down by another mechanism? universities I've been to have all had colleges, which have worked reasonably well. But then they've had resources, and it was a time of expansion where there was money and students available.
Right.
I think what we got to do is call the deans welcome to it, go along with the colleges, and try and make them work.
Do you feel that the majority of the faculty feel that way, or?
I think the majority of the faculty is confused. I think they're bored with it. I mean, I was going to walk out on you, Jack, because I've heard that whole thing, I don't know, 10 times.
Right, right. Don't worry, I've read it. Yeah.
There has been a modification that Jacobson forward the war document.
Right.
Adding a fourth position. The fourth division, 5 disciplines, is probably going to disappear. Just about everybody in that discipline agreed they should be somewhere else. At the Arts Study Council, they added a provost in that position. Okay? That is, each division will be headed by a dean. There will be one other person who will be responsible for colleges, responsible for the founding of colleges, for the liaison between the colleges and the department. A hilarious position. Great challenge. But it's driving mad. But that is a good idea. I think. There's somebody clearly responsible for liaison between the colleges and the departments.
What kind of
That, the title is tagged on as provost. It's not a dean-like position. It's a liaison person, but a very senior.
Professor Charlton, as Director of Interdisciplinary Studies, how do you see the role of interdisciplinary studies in a college system?
We ourselves and Loyola are probably the only people who are in fact running a college. We have courses, we have degrees, and we have groups. At present, there are 7 different subject areas in the George Center, something like 18 different degrees. And in fact, we're running a small college.
You suggest this be enlarged into a college under the format of the deans?
My feeling at present, and I'm preparing a document for the consideration, is that we retain a Center for Industry Studies within Concordia.
It would be independent of the college structure?
It would be.
Yeah.
Simply because one can't speak of industry studies without thinking of courses. Without thinking of programs. It's silly, for example, to say that women's studies is women's studies 241 and 242. It isn't. It's the whole damn, it's the set. It's the whole set of courses. So in order to keep that, if you want to put that in the structure, it would have to be collegial.
Right. Well,
At the same time, we've got STEM, which is departmental. Now, we could form a department and a college at the same time, which is daft when you've got them all in one operation now. I don't know whether it will be successful. I think departments are much stronger than we are. They don't want to see this small operation assuming some sort of special position. And I really don't know what.
well, however, the deans did mention that there could be a college of women's studies. And
Very careful, the women's college. It's not
a women's college, sorry, yeah.
Being isolated here in Mr. George, how much really, like, how many art students do you have taking science or science students as a minor in philosophy? Or,
That's not our bag.
okay, well, see, I don't know. I'm asking. What's happening?
There's probably a fair number of art students who pick up 1 or 2 math courses, particularly for philosophy. I suspect there's a few science students who do things like scientific affairs, pick up a course there. Apart from that, I think it's great.
And what's the real point of the faculty of arts and sciences?
It's really the Loyola experience as distinct from Sir George. Sir George wants to maintain a very technical, disciplined very research oriented, very professional. Loyola see the interaction of science and arts as important as only we do.
But I mean, like, where does this interaction, I mean, how is it exhibited? I mean, like, do you have a different attitude towards science, a different attitude by the professors who teach it? I mean, is there more?
Should I add, I mean, when I took university many years ago, I registered under the Arts and Science study at Alberta University, Alberta. And I think the assumption there was, basis to all this was, that all students should be exposed to both arts and science. I can say this honestly, that I've been always thankful that I had a chance as an art student to be exposed to a fair number of science courses, so that when I went out into the world, I think I was more integrated to actually discuss science, even though I'm not a science, I have no special with it, but I had a great sequence of it. And I think in those days, the idea was that you were a scholar and a student, you know. And I think that's one assumption, whether it's past, I think, this is the days of specialization, maybe.
When Jack was a student, there wasn't much science around.
I don't know, that may be a factor, but I still think the premise is still valid. And I think you find many, many people today, I think if an art student had more knowledge of science, he'd make a bigger contribution on society. I think
But this is why I was asking, is this happening?
Well, this could
At Loyola, it is very like
It seems like, okay, they take the odd math course, but little else.
well, at Loyola, it's considered what I believe that science students, it's compulsory for them to take a certain number of arts courses. It was up till recently. They may have changed it, but it was up until recently. And I was speaking to one of the professors at Loyola, and he defended the idea of an arts and science faculty to an incredible degree. He felt that otherwise, if we just had people just taking pure science, we'd end up with some kind of mad scientist who had no tinge of the human, which is, or vice versa. Yeah, you get. That is a certain, that's a very extreme view, but that's a general idea.
One of the things that college could do would say, okay, we believe in the sort of education Jack spoke about. And a student entering that college would have to do, at least 2 courses in science, 2 in arts, and I hope 2 in fine arts, something like that. Whereas the college would lay down the basic thing, and a student, if that was their bag, they'd go to that college, they'd register in that college. And somebody who hated arts or hated science could go to a different college. Didn't have that
The
requirement.
organization, I really don't, like, okay, you have the colleges, and I sort of think that's a nice idea. I don't think there should be that many. I think there should be perhaps one for a looser, more liberal type of education, one for more academic, and I don't know what else. Like, I just don't think there should be so many that you create.
Okay.
But anyway, besides that, I just don't see, like, who's responsible for setting up these different programs to satisfy all these colleges, and the departments, and this and that.
It would be the role of the college to set up the programs, and in liaison with the. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Why couldn't the colleges maybe set programs in liaison with the departments?
That's what they will be doing. Yeah.
And what's the other, why have the Board of Regents?
Well, there are other things go on inside a university besides teaching.
Yeah.
They control the budget, staffing, space.
Yeah. It's more administrative than.
So these aren't going to affect the students as much.
Not as much. I don't, the student, in fact, I think the intended report is the student will see the university through the eyes of the college.
Whereas the faculty member would see it through the eyes of each division, and like he would be answerable to the division more than to the individual college where the student would be registered. So you see, they have more or less a dual approach. So it's trying to make the best going both ways. Really, trying to satisfy everybody, trying to satisfy the students by making the smaller divisions. And the reason why they were intending to have so many colleges is so they could keep down. Well, they said that it was to. The deans felt that it was because they, each one could offer a separate view on certain things and so on. But one of the major reasons is their goal is to have 800 students maximum, absolute maximum for each college. And we have, in the Faculty of Arts and Science, I believe it would be somewhere in the region between 5,000 and 6,000. And that's the reason why they would want 8 colleges, which would give them, 700 or so per college average. And they would like to get it 800 or less. They've said they would even accept as many as 200. If a college is not getting enough students, they'd have to give it until they were like, if at a certain point, this is a point that was brought up and it's a very good point, what if a college is not attracting enough students? What they would do is, they would make a decision, it would be a decision made most probably at the Arts and Science Council level, and then it would be, referred to Senate. And the decision would be made to discontinue that college, so the students who were in it would finish their programs, college would be dissolved, and the people, the people already in the programs wouldn't be affected, but others afterwards, there would be no program, there would be no college.
So students would not say enroll in the humanities division, go to the engineering.
Yeah, you would take the courses from the college.
You'd have to enroll in a college division by the time it was all finished, or you figure
Well, it does look, apparently, just to take a look at the chart and so on, and to listen to the way it's explained, that there's a really excessive bureaucracy. But actually, there probably won't be that many more jobs. It's just that people will be reshuffled. Because you've got to remember now that we have 3 faculty councils. We have our Arts Faculty Council, we have Science Faculty Council, and then we have an Arts and Science Faculty Council at Loyola, and with all the people under that, the
But that wouldn't be any problem then, because one simply will not recognize campuses at this point. And that's the problem here, that Loyola and St. George are fighting over this gal's body. If she does 3 courses at St. George this year, Loyola, you could lose 2 students.
yeah, one of the ideas is to more or less decrease the competition between the faculties here for students.
I presume it would be a college, and she would apply to do a joint, a double major in political science, which instead of she would go to division. No, she wouldn't be in a, she'd be in a college.
They don't register under divisions. The divisions are only for the faculty. Like they offer the courses for the programs of the colleges.
The thing is, Jack, we set up a structure, and 50 students find some anomaly. Okay, so we set this thing up and be assured the same, a different set of problems will emerge. I'm in this college, I'm in this major, and I want to do this minor. It makes a lot of sense for me to do this minor along with the major. But that minor isn't offered in my college. What do I do? Can I do a major in one college and a minor in another? Good question. Okay, well, you're on the same boat as this guy, okay? After she's sorted out as to whether it's technically feasible, if she's seeing program advisor here, then we're going to jump on the 2 student request committees and say, look, this is a reasonable proposal. You ought to do the same.
I think it could be ironed out. One thing, though, is that there are several inherent contradictions in the whole thing, and that the major one, which is immediately apparent, is the fact that the divisions offer the courses, and yet the colleges control the programs. And like this, well, the division is under, let's say, under humanities division, they would have all the departments underneath that. So it would be, the department. Yeah, I'm using them interchangeably. The division would be, choosing the courses that it was going to offer. Now, obviously, what would happen if the college decided, well, we're going to offer a series, we're going to offer a major, or an honors in, a major, in, I don't know, Zulu war painting or something, something like this, like this. I'm using that as an extreme example, but I say what would happen there, it would be, there would certainly be a great contradiction, because let's say the department wouldn't want to offer the course, and that is the main thing. There would have to be a lot of liaison work between the two of them in order to make it work. And like I think that is one of the most major problems that we have.
Well, in your case, I mean, the college sets the program. They apply to the department for the staff they need.
Well, they'd say, okay, our program, it depends how much product college has got. It's got a lot of students who have a lot of work. They can say, okay, our major in economics consists of these courses. Okay, and I presume they'll discuss it with the department. Okay, and there'll be a mutual agreement. Then they'll say, okay, this year, economics will have to offer this list of courses because our students in economics have got to do these courses. And they will do that, economics, political science, chemistry, history, biology, etc. and so forth. Okay, for the major. It's a hell of a sight messier than the current system. A hell of a sight messier. But if you want distinctive educational style, I think that is a solution. I think what the dean proposed is a solution. It's a hell of an administrative headache.
So for each college, you have to have this input. How many times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's trying to do.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
I was part of the engineering faculty, and the engineers have special math courses. Now, math courses in theory are developed by professors from the Department of Mathematics. Now, we're modeling of course trip guide from the colleges taking courses from the divisions be similar to, let's say, how the Department of Engineering now takes math course or has a math course tailored to their needs.
That would be an ideal thing. Okay, it would be nice for each college to say to, let's say, economics, we want urban economics taught in this particular way. We're interested in humanistic values. Okay? We don't want your numerical techniques in economics. We want a humanistic economics. That would be nice if that could be done. It won't be done because we just don't have enough students to offer any section of the course. But it might be done in a few cases. And in that case, it can improve. But normally, it's a big question of putting together the series of courses that are now offered in college programs. I suspect that 99% of programs would differ, except Montreal. One of the things I didn't like, Jack, and you didn't pick that up in your presentation, was the honors degrees in the next specialization.
Right, they would be under, yeah, that's why I corrected myself when I mentioned the honors there. I correct myself to major.
Department sets up, let's say history says, this is our honors degree, and if college B wants to offer an honors degree in history, this is what it'll be. Okay, part of the science. What the dean's saying there is if that college wants to give that honors degree its particular flavor, okay, let's say the college we talked about before, the student must do 2 courses in science, and they will be added on to the end of the honors degree. Okay, so you're cutting out the electives that the student presently has. Okay, and that to me is that's a retrograde step. We believe the student should have freedom of at least 80 credits.
Couldn't the history department set up, say, an honors history program? I don't know whether they're going to have 60 history credits or whatever, and specify perhaps, 48 credits, and leave the other 12 to the discretion, and say, to the discretion, suggest these students say you're in this college, these students you're in that college.
Well, that's a possible model. History department is very flexible. I think it's recognized that the certain freedoms needed. But other departments don't have that flexibility. What will happen is that some honors degrees will be like that, some won't be. You'll find that students having to do 14 specified courses.
Could I suggest that we talk about the electives? It seems to me, in my reading, that all of the colleges, Harvard and all the others, in their undergraduate program, are getting away from it. Are saying that maybe it's time now that we establish compulsory series of courses like I had to take it.
I had to do the same thing.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, So maybe there's some value too.
Well,
You know, it's a matter of value.
I can see some colleges
Yeah.
saying that we want to specify all 15. That's what we believe education is about. Fine, if somebody wants that education, they can go and do the programs in that college. Okay, other people, if they want smorgasbord education, go to another college. So that there are...
Yeah, the main idea of one of the ideas of the colleges is they have different approaches. Like one of them would be an old style, let's say, education. Then there would be a new, let's say, perhaps even more loose, course style and so on like that. And plus, there's definitely, they said, there will definitely be a Catholic college, in the Catholic tradition, as Loyola College used to be. And
I'm not clear that I don't know what the other students are. The relationship between the department and college, could you spend maybe a half a minute?
sure, okay, the colleges will have all control over programs to be offered. The divisions, okay, of which the departments form a part, the departments will control the courses. Now, there will be a liaison between the two in order to link it up. But you see, the idea of the programs will be set up by the colleges, and they'll be using that as a major selling point to attract, new students. However, the courses will be offered from the traditional departments, and they will be.
In other words, the staff and the faculty from the department really set up the course and liaison with the principal.
No, that's the problem, Jack.
Yeah, there's a little.
You've got a college. It's got 10 fellows. There are something like 27 departments in the combined arts and science faculty. Now, if the college wants to offer a broad range of programs, it will offer 27 different degrees, okay? And each one of them may have a minor, a major, back specialty, and an honors. Okay? If you got 10 faculty involved in the college, and a dedicated, hard-working faculty, they still, the chances are that, let's say you want to offer you a major in chemistry, and you ain't got a chemist who's a fellow. So do a bunch of other guys sit around and dream of what should a chemistry degree be at this college? I presume they go to chemistry college. But then how do they, and you students know this, well, geez, I missed doing that course, I'd like to substitute this one in place of it. Who the hell makes those decisions? Okay, and so that the colleges are very weak in the sort of quality control, if you like, that they can put into the programs and the advice they can give the students, simply because that won't be their bag. This is the strength of the center. And now we have program committees for each program who are the best people we can find in the field and who solve these problems. That sort of structure won't exist in the colleges. That's why I'm saying let's keep the center because of you.
Okay, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave pretty soon as there's a class coming in. So I'd like to thank everybody who came today and hope that some enlightenment was the result. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.
It's so hard. I expected a lot. Remember when you had all those people from like Kevin Quinn and the guys in
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing is there that I think the university was. Some people just they say all arts and science. They sort of not about being
But there is listen to this. I'm much more in favor of this.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Well, everybody has reservations. Even the deans have their own reservations.
But hearing, for example,
yeah, it's all. Well, the problems we have now, the most people don't know. And like this is all discussed.
I'm in a very sensitive drawing program, and I'm very happy to be here. I never go below the night for so
Well, like, CUTV is not everybody has a lot of work now. No one's actually doing it. Like, everything's on where you want. Like, as for
Okay,
mine's, there's no major. Thanks a lot, Liz.
let's wrap this, let's move
So, you know, like,
everything
but there's no,
into
there's only minor. That means like, you know, if you want to put communications out there, whatever, then like a minor. Problems involved now. Like,
I didn't know
it's
that
just
we got
incredible.